coaching, author, and speaker. And I hope you guys are doing. And so I kind of wanted to come on to share a little bit about my journey and to be real with you, to be honest with you, um, to give you a real sense of the coaching industry and to kind of share with you what drew me to it, why I made the choices that I made. The first thing I'm going to say to you is that everybody's path is different. And that's something I had to learn. Believe it. Even though I knew it. I knew it subconsciously. I knew it. But it wasn't being manifest in my everyday life and in my everyday experience. But I did learn through my journey, through my mistakes, that everybody's path, everybody's choices are different. And that gave me the foundation of saying, I will not teach you my blueprint. I don't believe in that. I don't believe I can do it, you can do it. What I do believe is that if you have the right resources, if you have the right information, then you will be able to make the best choices for your coaching practice. And you'll be able to create a template for yourself to follow. I do not tell people they're going to make 7 figures or 8 figures. Is there the potential to do that? Absolutely. There absolutely is. But is that common? What is more common? I think the more common thing is that people make a living, and they can make a comfortable living doing coaching. I also found out on my journey, you have to do more than just coach. You really do. It's not just coaching people. You have to diversify what you offer, whether it's a training program, whether it's a coach mentoring program, whether it's a coaching package, whether it's public speaking, whether it's writing a book, whether it's writing articles. All of those fall into play of what you do in your practice. And that will determine also what your income looks like, right? But every coach that I know personally, they have multiple things that they're doing. Now, your configuration may look different. So, for instance, 60 to 70% of my time is training, right? And preparing other coaches. Then I might have, 5% is book sales, another 5% is blog articles, and I might have another 10% that's dealing with coaching, right? And so I have this layered configuration for myself, but mostly what I do is training and speaking is the primary income for me. And like I said, every coach is different. But again, I had to learn that in order to become successful at what I do. The other thing that I realized is that, social media is a popularity contest. Do you remember high school? And there were certain people, because they were the captain of the football team, because they were the lead cheerleader, because maybe they were president or something to that effect, right? They were popular. People knew who they were, and the more people that wanted to hang out with you, the better. Well, I found that social media is very similar, and people tend to not understand your value if you don't have hundreds and thousands of people following you. And I had to learn that social media following is not an indicator of my worth and my value, but people will make you believe that. And the final lesson I had to learn was that this is not an overnight success thing. I struggled with this when I first started to coach and started my practice. I see many of my students have the same struggle, that they feel like, well, I don't have 20,000 people following me, but this other coach does. And I'm like, well, how long has this person been a coach? and we'll talk and go, oh, well, they've been doing it for like 10 and 15 and 20 years. I'm like, yeah, how long have you been coaching? Or how long have you started your practice? Like, oh, less than 6 months. And I'm like, well, how would you have the same number of followers? Right? And that was, again, something I had to learn too, because you couldn't tell me when I first started my journey, like when I first graduated my program, that I wasn't going to have millions of followers and I wasn't going to be this 8-figure chick, right? And yeah, I had my feelings hurt after like I think a year of doing this. I'm like, what the hell am I doing wrong? And I had to realize that I wasn't doing anything wrong. So I wanted to share that with you. I wanted to share that you do not have to be like any other coach. You don't. If you want to have your own coaching practice, you whatever you want to do, even if you don't want to be a coach, I mean, this applies to any field. You can be the best subject matter expert in your area with your knowledge and how you apply it. You don't have to be like me. You don't have to be like any other coach. You don't have to do what other coaches are particularly doing. And when I realized that, excuse me, I freed myself. I freed myself from being depressed that I didn't have a million followers. I freed myself from feeling like I'm short changing myself or I'm not good enough. And once I was able to free myself from that, I saw my options. I saw that I wanted quality over quantity, and my path opened. And I was able to walk away from a 9 to 5, and I was able to do my own business, and I was able to get the club. Matter of fact, I stopped chasing people and people started chasing me. Like, I now get the calls, hey, I want to do a meeting with you. Hey, I would like you to do this training for our organization. And we're talking Fortune 100 companies, Fortune 500 companies. We're not talking just little itty bitty, companies or just nonprofit or anything like that. We're talking, they are contacting me at this point. So that dispelled one of the myths that I needed to have a million followers in order to get that type of project or recommendation or opportunity. And so I wanted to tell you this, that I made some costly mistakes. The first thing I would like to share with you is that this is a lifelong training journey, meaning you will always look to perfect your skills and perfect your practice. So you will be a forever student. And that was something that I've accepted. And I also realized that it's an expensive career. You have to invest so much in yourself to really be good at coaching, because coaching takes practice. It takes you doing it. It takes you working with different types of clients, with different types of problems. It takes you understanding what coaching is and what coaching is not, to make sure that you're facilitating the coaching process. There's a lot of investment in yourself. And once I said, okay, I'm going to set aside a budget for myself to train every year, X amount of hours every single year, it became a no-brainer, right? I did make costly mistakes. One of the ones that I see a lot of coaches make is they don't know their niche. They don't know their niche. Ain't nothing like hot chocolate at night. I love hot chocolate at night. I don't know why. It gotta be at night. Anyway, so one of the costly mistakes, right, is thinking I had to have all these bells and whistles, thinking I had to have a brick and mortar, thinking I had to have this dynamic office. You see this little office. This is my little space. I love my space. But I thought it had to be a certain look in a certain way, and I had to be a certain look in a certain way, and I spent money on grooming and imaging, and I spent money on marketing, and I spent money on this person and that person, and everything that they were telling me I knew, and I'm like, but why are we doing this way? And I never really understood some of the advice and consulting that I received because it just didn't make sense. It was more or less I'm being told this is the model that other coaches follow. But I'm like, but I don't have their same networking access. I don't have their same um, knowledge or their same why they got into the business, or I don't have certain things that wasn't conducive to what I wanted. So I'm following another plan that wasn't conducive to me. And so I spent a lot of money and a lot of time, right? Trying to figure out who I was as a coach, following different coaches and going, okay, well, I offer that and a whole bunch of other stuff. And well, I did this, and this, and I don't understand. And once I let go of all that, and like I said, costly expenses, let me tell you, costly lessons. I had to spend at least close to $80,000 in different tools, ideas, consultants, development, just to discover half the stuff that I was wasting my time on I didn't need, right? And to keep it simple, stupid, right? Just keep it simple. And to just produce a good product and have quality followers, people that want to learn from you, people who resonate with your brand, your product, your personality, your values, right? And once I got that and it clicked for me, the rest was gravy. I kid you not, the rest was really gravy for me. And I began to focus on my why I'm doing this, my niche market, who I'm doing it for, and how did I want to represent myself in the industry. And once that was clear, everything else fell into place. I'm like, oh my gosh, I could have saved myself like $80,000 if I would have did this a different way. But it's okay. I don't besmirch or belittle or groan about the cost because I learned. And I try to use that in my training programs and when I'm mentoring other coaches and when I'm helping other coaches prepare their practice or prepare for being credentialed. I share my journey with them and I share with them where the pitfalls were for me. And everybody's potholes or pitfalls will be different, but at least if I can help another coach understand what to look for on their journey, then that can save so much time and so much money. Like one of the things that a lot of new coaches do, and then I'm going to let y'all go because I could talk about this all day. One of the things I notice a lot of new coaches do is they want to go cheap. I'm going to go spend $20, $100, $300 on a training program. And it's okay if the program worked for you, that good, go for it. There's nothing wrong with being economical. But what winds up happening is they will spend a very small amount on their training program, right? Just so they can say they're a certified coach. But then they want to do more. They may want to work for a government agency, or they may want to work for a Fortune 100, Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 company. And they realize that they're kind of stuck. Their options are limited because they didn't get the credentials or the certifications that are recognized by organizations as being a rigorous, evidence-based, or a program that's recognized as being appropriate, right? Because at the end of the day, you as a coach, you must know how to facilitate the coaching process. And not every program teaches you how to do that. They just don't. They give you a lot of stuff to read, a couple of exercises to do, and it's kind of it, right? There's no support. There's no mentoring. There's no demonstration. There's no practice. It's just read this, answer these questions, and try to apply what you've read. And that might work for some people, but the art of coaching and learning how to do it right and learning how to do it well is through observation, is through practicing it and doing it, understanding what you're doing in the process. It makes a huge difference. And so I try to share that in our training programs to help coaches come along, and coaches who work for me, whether as a coach or whether as a coach trainer, I try to mentor them so that they can find their path, they can find their configuration, they can find what makes sense for their journey. And like I said, hopefully help them avoid some of the common pitfalls that many of us coaches go through, so that they don't waste time or money, in areas that could be avoided with a little research or with a little guidance from a mentor, right? So I say all that to say this. This is not a business or an industry for the faint of heart. If you want to start your own business, there is a lot of sacrifice. There is a lot of professional development. There's a lot of networking and relationship building. There is a lot of self-reflection and knowing your worth and knowing why you're doing this, because if you don't, you will become discouraged. And there's a lot of information out there, so it's also very confusing. It's extremely confusing. There's so much information that it could take you almost a year just to wade through half the stuff that's out there. And that's another reason why I try to be very upfront and honest, and to give people clear information so that they can make the best decision for themselves. And so the other thing that I would say to you is, what I learned is that find three resources. Find three resources and get familiar with the coaching industry through those three resources. And to do your research that way. Find at least 2 or 3 people that has been in it for a couple of years, at least 5+ years, to sit down and talk with them, and see how you can help them. Maybe, hey, I'll intern for you if you can teach me as much as you can and as much as you're willing to do. Like, bring something to the table so that someone can say, I would love to learn under you, right? And also, don't kill yourself trying to review everything, because there's so much out there. And because the coaching industry is not necessarily a federally or state regulated type of industry, there's a lot of false information out there, and you have to be so careful. And so that's why I try to be transparent. I try to provide very concrete information. And there's a lot of mentoring that goes on with my training programs, but as well as for my employees or my staff, people who work for me. There's a lot of mentoring that go on, because I want people to really understand what they're getting into. And there is a lot of sacrifice. And there is a lot of investment in the front end. But you can see a return on your investment. And I've been very fortunate in this industry. Like I said, I started off chasing any and every opportunity. Now I don't have to. Like, now they come to me and I can choose. And so the final thing that I'll leave you with is, set yourself up to have as many options as possible. A lot of people question, should I become credentialed? Yeah, it gives you options. Why not? Why not? I've heard other coaches say, well, this person is a coach and they don't have a certification. And I'm like, but they're not really coaches. They're really motivational speakers. And they were able to build a brand around their name and around what they do. And they've been doing it probably longer than we've been alive. So that's why they don't need a certification. But if you're just starting out, unless you have the money to build such a multi-million-dollar brand, that should not be your idea of the norm. It is not the norm to make 8 figures and 7 figures. It's not. That's not the norm. ICF, International Coaching Federation, has done extensive studies on this, and there's lots of studies out there on this background. You'll be lucky if you make between $60,000 and $80,000 a year as a coach. That's the average. Seriously. So it's like, but if you don't know what to do with your psychology degree, coaching is a great field to go into. If you want to maybe get a bachelor's degree in psychology or an associate's degree in psychology and then get your coaching credentials or coaching certification from a prominent institution or an approved institution, then that's going to open up doors for you, and that's going to open up opportunities for you, and it's going to make you and your practice more marketable. And the way companies and organizations are now, a lot of them have in-house coaches. Like, that's all they do. It used to be the HR person did the coaching. But now, executive leadership, business leadership, they all have their own, like, coaches. So you don't necessarily have to start your own business if you don't want to, Those of you who are in the spiritual field, whether you're clergy or ministerial, which I am an ordained minister, by the way. I'm very unorthodox, but that's okay. Even a lot of spiritual leaders are now getting their certification as coaches because it opens up their skill set, but it also makes them more marketable in other fields and other areas. And so with any career that you have, the idea is being marketable. That's why people get certifications and extra training, and they get their bachelor's and master's and PhD and MBA and all that good stuff. They do it to make themselves more marketable. And that will be the difference between you're able to command $25,000 to speak and $2,000 to speak or $100 to speak, right? So the idea is you want to do things that's going to build your brand and improve your marketability amongst your niche. And you need to know your niche. You need to narrow your niche. Coach, and again, I had to learn this. It was a costly, expensive experience, but I had to learn how to narrow down my niche. You cannot coach everyone, and you shouldn't coach everyone. You should become an expert in a particular area or subject and really master and understand the audience that you're trying to work with. That is where you build a name for yourself. That is where you become an expert. That is where people will seek you out for what you do, because they know you're an expert in your area, not a Jack or Jill of all trades. Being a coach that coach everybody because you're afraid of leaving money on the table or not being able to, I guess, make a name for yourself. You're not going to do that if you're coaching everyone around everything. My whole thing is, my niche is the coach training piece of helping you become credentialed, helping you become a professionally certified coach in an industry that's saturated. Yes, because everybody and their mother is a coach right about now. And my niche is closing that gap. How do you distinguish yourself from other coaches? What can you do to thrive as a coach? And everything that we do at Reid Life Coaching is that. And I set that up purposely because there was a need for it. And I saw the gaps that exist, especially for coaches of color. I saw the gaps, especially for coaches who are part of underrepresented groups. Huge gap. And that's the gap that I fill. I help you to carve out your niche and help you become a represented practice in the industry. And there aren't coaches really doing that. A couple of coaches who will say they do, a couple of companies that say they do, but what does that really mean? And how are they going about doing it, right? And so that's what I identified. And I have also become very prominent in the area of mindfulness coaching, but more importantly, culturally sensitive coaching and taking coaching beyond DE and I, right? And so that's what I'm known for in the industry. That's what I'm known for in my region. And that has helped me tremendously with my practice and with my business. So I want to leave you with that. And I hope that this information will help you understand your why. Understand why you're doing this. And understand what type of coach you want to be and who do you want to really serve. How do you want to help? How do you want to use your expertise, your education, your degrees in this field to help other people or a particular type of the segment of the population? How do you want to help them? And when you can figure that out, and then don't be so focused on how many followers. They'll come. I got up to 12,000 followers on Instagram, close to 1,000 on Facebook, and over 1,000 on LinkedIn. And I revamped. I got rid of most of my social media pages. I revamped. And I got rid of everybody because I just didn't want to go through all the people. And I made the mistake of, I did purchase at one point when I first started, I purchased followers. Oh my God, that was the worst mistake. Worst mistake. That was another reason why I got rid of my platforms and everything, because I'm like, half these people have no clue about coaching, could care less about coaching, and most of them were probably bots. And I'm like, oh my God, what did I do, right? But again, costly mistake that I'm glad I learned from, and I will tell anybody, don't buy followers. Don't buy followers. Please don't buy followers. It is a waste of your time. It's a waste of money. And I am doing it organically. So I started from scratch. I did. And I did have a lot of organic followers, but I was trying to play the popularity game. And so I purchased more followers. And I'm like, yeah, that wasn't cool. And I didn't have the patience to go through everyone and get rid of the people that that weren't real followers or weren't organic. I didn't have the patience for it. So I said, you know what? Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Start all over. And it was the best decision. It was the best decision because now the people that follow me are quality. They're other coaches. They resonate with what I'm doing. They've taken my training programs. They've hired me to coach them. They've hired me to mentor them. They've referred me to other people. So this is way better. I'd rather have a good 500 solid quality followers than 5 million followers that could care less, right? That don't engage. Like I could tell you, I would go months without somebody even liking something. Now it's like I see likes now. You know, it's like, okay, people make comments now. Before it was like, okay, you got all these people following you, but no one engages. What was the point, right? So I hope that my experience, I hope that this was helpful. I hope that it gave you something to ponder. But I do say that just be prepared that this is going to be an investment. Be prepared that it takes time to build, and that is okay. That you're going to have patience, and be your authentic self. You do not have to be like any other coach. Be your authentic self. Create a program that makes sense for your niche market, for the people that you're trying to reach and talk to and who want to talk to you. And create options for yourself. Certification, credentialing, degrees, they all make you marketable. I believe I am more marketable today with a PhD, with certification and credentialing than I was 10 years ago. And I'm very glad that I've made the decisions that I've made to be where I am. And it's a magnificent journey, and I'm doing what I love, and I'm doing it how I love it, doing it the way I want to do it. And some stuff I do is unconventional, and some stuff no other coach is doing, and great. Like, I'm not trying to follow. I'm trying to set the standard. I'm trying to set the bar. I am the premier provider of training and development for coaches. And so with that being said, yeah, you can't follow the leader. You have to be the leader when you want to make that type of a difference. And so that's what I'm trying to do, and that's how I try to help other coaches so that they can stand and on their own platform and thrive and be where they want to be, um, as they're creating their practice and their business, right? So yes, so thank you. I'm gonna finish my hot chocolate, which I probably need to warm it up again because it got a little bit cold. But I want to thank you for allowing me to just give you a little bit of insight, and hopefully it's helpful to you as you're building your practice as a coach. And just to give you guys an FYI, the virtual coaches conference is coming up. Get your tickets now, because I'm telling you right now, April 1st, ticket prices go up. Ticket prices go up starting in April. So this is the last month to get the pre-registration tickets, because next month the prices is going up, and we're not going backwards. We're not discounts. Nope. You go forward, it's gonna cost you more. So I'm just saying, if you're gonna attend the coaches conference, now is the time to register, pre-register, I should say. And we have a great lineup of awesome coaches. And yeah, so make sure you guys are following me, subscribe. It's a lot of information I share. I'll share a lot of information, especially if you're in the Reid Ready circle. There's so much you get, so much you learn. And I tell people all the time, I have no problems with answering questions. If you're part of the Reid Ready family, you have direct access to me. So you get to have a lot of great information. So make sure you're joining the Reid Ready family. Make sure you sign up for the virtual coaches conference. And we do have training courses this month starting, so make sure you sign up for those, because this is a really amazing time to be a coach. And I know that, and this is just, it's going to boom. Like, even though it's a saturated field, there is a need for coaches, and there is a need to develop your coaching skills. Even if you don't want to be a coach, but you are a coaching professional, you can use coaching skills as a sales and marketing person, as an HR person, as a director of a company, as a minister, as a husband and wife, as a parent, as a child of an adult child of, adult parents, senior parents. Like, coaching is a phenomenal tool that you can use. So don't sleep on it. And this is a great opportunity to develop and learn and thrive as a coach. And there's so much you could do as a coach. And we talk about it in our program. So I said enough. I have talked your ears off. So I'm going to finish my hot cocoa. I'm going to finish grading assignments for my coach training program. And I'm just going to prepare myself for an amazing tomorrow. So you guys go out there, create awesome sauce for yourself and others. And please feel free to share this video with others. Refer us to other people. If you want to learn more about Reid Ready Life Coaching, please contact us and set up an appointment with a Reid Ready coach. We have several that we have now that I'm excited to announce. We're going to be announcing our new coaches in the next couple of weeks. I'm excited. So definitely, if you want to know more, feel free to reach out and have a conversation with a Reid Ready coach. And hopefully you get on my calendar. Like I said, I've been pretty booked. But you guys who are part of the Reid Ready family, you know that you have access to me. And so, yeah, so please reach out. Go out there and create awesome sauce, everybody, for yourself and for others.